Welcome to the Sandwich Generation Podcast, a resource for adults balancing the dual responsibilities of raising children and caring for aging parents. Whether you're helping your parents downsize, explore real estate options, navigating caregiving, or looking for practical advice to help your family thrive, this is the place for you. Join us as we bring you expert insights, heartfelt stories, and actionable items to support you and your family within this unique generation.
Hello there.
Hello.
We have a PowerPoint. I know we have a PowerPoint for this podcast, so this should be fun, right?
Yeah. Things to look at besides our faces. That's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're not that bad to look at it.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
So we're talking about 5 tips to successfully downsizing, and this is actually our slideshow for our pop-ups that we offer to senior communities, senior centers, churches, whomever is looking for a speaker for a quick 1 hour 5 steps to downsizing event.
Yep. Good info to help you get started for sure. So,
Okay. Well, do you want to start?
yeah. Well, so we'll just read off the 5 steps here real quick so you can see it on the screen. But we're going to go through all 5 of these. But start early, small, and often. Hone your sorting skills. Once sorted, you're going to get it out. Communicate with family and friends, and be nice to yourself. I like number 5.
Easy, right? I know. I was going to say, I didn't want to interrupt you, but number 3, I think, is my favorite because I'm probably the thrower awayer in my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So we'll start at tip number 1. Start early, small, and often. I don't think you can start too small. Do you?
No, I mean, you obviously don't want to overwhelm yourself, but yeah, just get in there and get started no matter what it is. So, because we all know once you do it, you kind of get on a roll, right? You start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just like the slide says, use the satisfaction as momentum or motivation to move on to the next. So I think you could start with just a drawer, literally like a drawer in your dresser in your bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And get that all nice and organized, and then move on to another drawer. And then, before you know it, you have the whole dresser all organized. You've thrown out some clothes that you haven't worn in 10 years or whatever. And then who knows, you move in onto if you put stuff under your bed or your nightstands or whatever. I would say just don't start like in the kitchen or
yeah, that can be
some of those main areas.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the one thing that I will say I do recommend with the kitchen, though, is if this whole process is something that's hard for you, just even getting rid of things. Some people just really like to hold on to things. They don't want to clear out. Start with things that are or likely could be expired. So, Don't like take on the whole kitchen as a whole, but if you know that your pantry has some canned goods in there that are deep and have not been looked at or touched in years, just start with things that you're like, well, it's expired. It needs to be thrown out anyways, or even the
that's
bathroom.
A good idea.
The bathroom can be a dark hole for expired items and, ointments and creams and medication.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
or prescriptions that you haven't used in years or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sometimes just starting with things that, you're not going to be able to donate, you're not going to use, they've been there for years. I mean, I think I've talked about this before, but, a client that we helped one time, I found it's often that I find spices that are older than I am. And, I'm midway through my 40s. So, but yeah, the oldest I think was like a 1971 was
Oh
the
gosh.
expiration date on the spice. So I was like, yeah, I think this has lived its
Throw that away.
life. We need to pass this on. Yeah, to
Right.
the junk, to the trash.
To the
Yeah.
dump. Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah, so just start small and use that momentum. That's a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, tip 2, hone your sorting skills. We like this. We like color coding things. So, make 3 color coded areas using sticky notes or tape. I'm a big fan of painter's tape for these kinds of
Yeah.
things. Um, select a color, red, for example, on the screen to keep. So everything that's tagged with a red or put in the box that's labeled red is the items you're keeping. Color 2 would be things you're going to donate. And then color 3 means it's going in the trash. And I've even had people designate rooms in their house for these colors. So everything that goes in
Yeah.
this, room 1 means this is red and we're keeping it. 2, second room we're going to donate. And then the garage or wherever you want to put stuff that is going in the junk haul as color 3. So just an easy way to keep yourself organized.
Yeah, and I always say the colors don't matter.
Yeah.
Just so long as whoever is doing the sorting knows what the colors mean. So I've had people like post a key
A
on the
key.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially when there are several children who are maybe they've got their own color. And
Mhm.
so, they'll have like pink is for Sally and green is for Joe. And yeah, so the colors don't matter so long as they're clearly communicated to everyone involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right, here's my favorite one because I'm a thrower awayer. Once it is sorted, once it is sorted, whether it's going to trash or donation, if it's going out of the house, don't just pile it up and be like, "Oh, yeah, at some point we're this is trash. We're taking this, to the dump," or this is donation. We're going to take this all. Once you've got a bag full, I tell people throw it in the back of your car and the next time you leave your house, leave enough time to stop by wherever you donate your things and get it out of your
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
Because you'll eventually do that enough times that you start to see progress and back on that step 1, you can use that progress as motivation to keep going.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I you can do this with items that need to be shredded as well.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I a lot of our clients, I suggest getting a box or a bin. You just have to make sure you can actually lift that box or bin into the
Yeah,
car,
don't
as
feel it
it
too
says,
heavy.
um, and put those items in there. And once it gets, midway full, totally full, whatever you can lift, but yeah, get it in the car and drop it off and have those things shredded. A lot of people say, "Oh, we have a shredder, we'll do that." Well,
It
it
depends
just
on how much you
sits.
have to shred.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just sits and it piles up, and then it's like, just the time it's gonna take to sit and do all that, you'd just be
Yeah.
better off paying a few bucks and getting it shredded, so,
Yeah, and it's actually pretty inexpensive if you're
yeah.
taking it to, the shredding facility opposed
Mhm.
to having them come to you, and they'll shred it a lot of times they'll shred it right there in front of you and give you your receipt, so you can see that for those people who, really want to see for sure that it's getting shredded. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
that's a good
another
one.
thing to, be mindful with this too is, depending on where you live, but, in my community, and I know most of the surrounding communities, they have those recycle days, whether it's at a local park or the city center
Yeah.
or wherever. So be watchful for those of when they're coming up. And I know we've gotten rid of a few old TVs that have broken, things like that, that you can't just like easily throw in your trash. So
Yeah.
watch for those recycle days and take advantage of them. They're really pretty fast usually. I mean, I think with the ones I've gone to, like ours are
Yeah.
drive-through, so they'll even get it out of your car for you. So
Yeah, take advantage of those for sure. And if you're local to Indiana, Central Indiana, there is that company, and I cannot think of the name of it. Um, they have these little walk-in, not little, they're not little, walk-in, I don't bins that you can put your electronics in. I know that there's
Mm,
one behind St. Luke's Church on 86th and Meridian. What is that company called? Um,
I don't
oh
know.
my
I don't
gosh,
know that
I
I've
feel
seen.
bad. I used to be in Rotary with the guy. Anyway, RecycleForce.
Okay.
I think that's the name of the company. You can look them up and find their bin locations. And then also, well, you're in Hamilton County. So you have that the drop off for
Hmm.
can at the fairgrounds, can they drop
Yeah,
off things with cords
I think so. Yeah, I think.
like Tox Drop or something?
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
different like bins or areas that you can go to, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think a simple search online for those type of resources would be useful too.
Hmm.
All right.
Tip
You're on to
4.
tip number 4.
Yeah, communicate with family and friends. I think this is really important. So let friends and family, your church, thrift stores know that you're downsizing and ask what they want. So, family, if there's something that they family member might be interested in, give them the opportunity to take it. But as we always say, don't be offended if they don't want something, but also
Yeah.
if they do, make sure you set a firm deadline for pickup, because we know people that have said they want this certain item and that they're going to take it for years. They've been telling their family member for years that
Yeah.
they're going to pick it up and it's still there. So, um, yeah, give them a firm deadline of when the item needs to be removed. Otherwise, it's going to be donated or pitched or whatever, but or offered to the next person. Maybe that would really get them motivated. But yeah,
Yeah.
communicate with your family and friends. Find out. I just got an email over the weekend for um, a domestic center in Hendricks County that is needing donations because they've had kind of a uptick in people coming in. And so, yeah, find out what people are needing, what they're wanting, and get that stuff donated and, picked up by family members for sure.
Oh, that reminds me too. When you said that uptick, I was in communication last week with a couple of people who own some Section 8 housing, some furnished, some not. But a lot of those, there's been an uptick in the need for that. And so, uh, if you have a contact or a connection in that area too, asking them if they
Mm-hmm.
need options. Also, I looked up that company. It is called RecycleForce, and the thing that's unique about RecycleForce is the way that their employment strategy. So they recycle electronics, and they have drop off locations. It looks like they just opened a new one at 816 North Sherman Drive in Indianapolis. But their employment strategy is that they're focused on uh, reentry of returning citizens from incarceration.
Wow.
So it's a way to do good for both the workforce and the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And their website is just recycleforce.org. So you can look up where their drop off locations are and
That's
what actual services they have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
a good way. The other thing to think about with what you can,
Go back to that one.
sorry, give to others, but a lot of churches will have mission trips that some of their youth are going on,
Yeah.
or just anyone. So finding out what items might be helpful for them to take on the mission trips. So a lot of those happen in the
I've
summertime. So
Yeah, they do. And I've also seen lately on social media, the Humane Society asking for
Mhm,
old blankets and sheets,
mhm.
and towels. So I actually have a bag. I'm going to drop them off today. I'm going to take our advice and get them out of our house
There you go.
and drop them off today. Yeah, just can't
Yeah.
go in because we'll end up adopting
Yeah,
another
you'll come
animal.
home with
Oh my
another
gosh.
animal.
You can't do that. No. Don't come home with another animal. Yeah. All right. So be number 5, be nice to yourself. So I always like to talk about this one when we have 2 people, whether they're spouses or partners or whatever, because it always seems that one person is the keeper and one person is the thrower awayer. And I'm using
Mhm,
those terms on purpose because we hear the word hoarder frequently in our business, and the the a real hoarder is not typically what people are dealing with when they tell us that. And
right.
so I just try to say, this is not the time to like shame our partners for being what they are, the keeper or
Mhm.
the thrower awayer. But rather, just if you could reframe that or reframe your mindset, just celebrate the choice that you've made the choice to finally uh to make the choice to either downsize or just declutter your house, even if you plan to live there. So
Yeah, yeah, and we all have our things too, right? Like,
yeah,
just because you're maybe not the one that keeps all the items that are visible necessarily, like, we all have I mean, we've seen many
yeah.
clients that are
You have
paper
some other
hoarders.
quirk that your spouse
Yeah,
doesn't like.
yep, so they, have filed away every bill and
Mhm.
invoice and whatever they've received from the last 40 years. And so just because it might be filed away and people aren't seeing it all the time,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's not there. So, yeah, don't just because I give my husband a hard time because he thinks we need to keep every box for everything we've ever purchased.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I
That's my daughter.
do not want to keep every TV box that we have in our house. Like once we know it works and we're past the return window, even if it didn't work, like we don't
We're
need this
good.
box anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's my
shoes.
daughter.
Oh
She
my gosh.
keeps yeah, shoe boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All my kids
Yep.
think they need their shoe boxes. I'm like, you guys
Yeah.
are actually
My daughter
wearing
keeps
these shoes.
yeah,
You're not gonna need the box one
you
day.
don't
Like,
need the box anymore. We had these teas that came in like tea bags that came in these metal containers.
mm,
And every time she goes to make herself a cup of tea, she's like, I'm gonna keep this tin when we're done with it to put whatever in, pens and pencils or whatever. It's just like, okay,
okay.
all
I
right.
mean, I like the
Mm.
recycle, reuse kinda idea,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
at some point, we're keeping tins just to keep things we don't really need.
Here's
Any other
our
tidbits?
wheel of services. No, I guess we could talk about tidbits while this is up. So this is kind of our offerings as a real estate brokerage. Tips for downsizing beyond the 5 that we've given.
Yeah.
Um, I think mainly just, a word that we hear a lot is this is so overwhelming. I feel overwhelmed. I think that a lot of times I'll tell people, of course, yes, and it's normal. You're not the only one. Everyone that we talk to, for the most part, feels at least some level of overwhelm.
Mhm.
But doing the downsizing and decluttering in phases, or having that rule that nothing new comes in
Ye
unless something old goes out, kind
mm,
of just adopting policies like that in your house, and doing some sort of sorting and recycling or donating on a regular basis, like making it a habit, would make when you finally do make that decision to downsize, it would make that downsizing decision a lot less overwhelming.
Mhm. Yeah, and just things that, I over the years have seen a lot of our clients kind of keeping and hanging on to, and then it just piles up and piles up, like paper and mail is one. So, in our house, we
Yeah.
have a bin that's next to our monthly calendar, like kind of our family organization area. And so once a month when I'm switching that calendar over, I pull that bin off the wall and try to go through it and throw things out. So old coupons and, just mail that it's like, we've already taken care
Yeah.
of this. We don't need it anymore. So just kind of trying to set routines where you are keeping yourself organized and going through and throwing things out, I think can be helpful. I love that. Don't bring, if you're bringing something new in, at least one
Something old
or
has
if
to go
not
out.
two things need to go out.
Yeah.
One tip I gave to one client in particular who is a shopper. She really enjoys shopping or
Mhm.
enjoyed. She We were talking about donation places, and I said she was talking. She took some stuff to donate and then ended up buying some stuff to bring back. And I'm like, okay,
No, that's not how this
that's
works,
not
ma'am.
what we're supposed to be doing. So
Right.
go choose your donation drop offs wisely and pick the ones where you just drive through in the back. You don't actually physically go in the store. That
Right.
is what
Just
you need to do. So, um,
no going in the stores.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, you never know what little tips can help people not continue to add to the clutter. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think from an adult child perspective, since this podcast is aimed at adult children, although we do have some folks who are seniors who listen, which we
Mhm.
we love too, because we can help educate them at the same time. From an adult child perspective, sometimes we're too close to our family members for them to really heed our advice. And so, just like many times, it needs to be our loved one's decision. So we can sort of plant the seed for things, but ultimately, if they're functioning cognitively just fine and it's just a matter of we're trying to get them to do something, maybe just
Mhm.
planting the seed, which this podcast, it gives them a great way to plant the seed, because they can say, hey mom, or hey dad, I was listening to this
Mm.
podcast
Yeah.
and they gave 5 tips to downsizing, and I thought it was interesting. They said, this rule that they have is something new comes in the house, something old has to come out. Wouldn't that be a great thing to adopt in our house, or whatever? And so
Mhm.
then it's not like I'm the adult child trying to tell mom or dad what to do, and they're resistant because they think I'm just a kid still. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm just too close in the relationship. So this gives them like a third party, and then eventually the idea is that they are like, yeah,
Yeah. They
that's a good idea, and then it becomes their idea, and so then they own it, they own the decision, so that autonomy that we're all striving for kind of, is there, and they're making good choices with regards to decluttering, so
Yeah. I actually just thought of another one I just saw this morning on, Facebook. It is a school nurse,
yeah.
who, sh obviously, they're getting ready to go back to school here in the next few weeks, and she was looking for just kinda like generic unisex clothing, sweatpants, sweatshirts, things like that, that they can keep
Oh,
in
that's
the
a good
nurse's
one.
office for, if
Mhm.
someone gets sick or, um even has on
Accidents.
something that, yep, I mean, things happen. And so, and then there was an art teacher. This would be a good thing because I know a lot of this has been the case for a lot of our clients, but an art teacher was looking for old used magazines
Oh,
for
yeah. To
for
do,
art
like,
projects.
collages and things, yeah,
Yep.
that's fun.
So that would be a really easy way to say to your parents, like, "Oh, hey, there's a local teacher that's looking for some old magazines. Let me know if you have any. We'll donate them because
Oh, yeah,
they
I like
do."
that. Yeah, we know they do. We know
Yeah.
they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way. So sort of rephrasing how we approach our parents about
Mhm.
that. I like that. Yeah, especially with school starting, like you said. And I'm seeing a lot of teachers post their Amazon wish list. And so you could take a look through that and see if there's something that is similar that maybe those teachers could use.
Mhm.
So yeah, the schools, that's a great place to look
Yeah,
too.
for
Okay,
sure.
well, there's our 5 tips, and we'll call it a day for today's episode.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all the things.